one platform to another. In your current role as Assistant Dean, for the Registrar Department on the Enrollment Management Services, um, do you, from what do you see are the benefits of having these one-stop shops?
So I want to actually take you back a little bit
Mhm.
so that you can understand what happened. So BMCC did not have a formal enrollment management unit until
Mm.
2017. And our old president, he was not a fan of student lines. So the students had to line up for the registrar,
Mhm.
admissions, and financial aid. And during our peak, he was seeing long lines in front of every single office. And sometimes, students were lined up on the wrong line. So he hired a consultant to see, if the students can be better served. And one of the recommendations that they made was that, we have a enrollment management division and we have a one-stop services center. So prior to the enrollment management division, we had our admissions office, financial aid office. Those two offices were reporting to student affairs. And the testing office and the registrar's office advisement, we were reporting to academic affairs. That was the breakdown. And the VP of Student Affairs was the chair of the enrollment management task force because we didn't have a division. And we were all working together. I spent more time working with our VP of Student Affairs, who was not my direct supervisor, on enrollment related matters. So when the consultant came and they said that this is what you should do, then the challenge was, how do we do this? So we identified a space, the space that we are located now, Panther Station. It was a bookstore for the college. So we identified this space and it took us probably a year and a half to get the space finished. And then, they only had funding for the director of One Stop Services Center and there was no other funding. In the meantime, we hired a VP of enrollment management, and one of the tasks that the VP had as the inaugural VP of enrollment management to roll out the One-Stop Services Center, which we now call Panther Station. So she was told that she can hire a director, but the rest of the staff will have to come from the other areas that are reporting to the VP of enrollment management. So they decided that admissions office, registrar's office, financial aid office, all of those offices will be reporting to the VP of enrollment management. So that already happened before we did any work related to the Panther Station. Because we didn't have any funding at the time, we transferred people from admissions office, from the registrar's office, and from financial aid office. Now, when that happened, there were two groups of people that were transferred and many people are not even willing to transfer to the new area. The concept was that instead of students going to all of those three offices, they will be coming to the Panther Station and they will be getting the service for all three areas. And obviously, it requires training, it requires understanding of different aspects of other offices that people are not even familiar with. So many people are afraid of that. It's a change. They're afraid. So, the goal was to have the best people in the Panther Station who are good with students. So some of those people ended up coming to the Panther Station from the other three offices. And then there were people who had difficulties among themselves with other staff or with their supervisor. So some of those people ended up coming to the Panther Station as well. And the director at the time actually came from Maryland. And she was very young. She had a doctorate degree. She spent a lot of time researching and doing work in academics, but she didn't really have any true experience, especially when it comes to CUNY matters. I mean, good ideas, great ideas, but implementation was very difficult. So she had major problems dealing with all of these people. And on top of that, all of these people who transferred from other offices to Panther Station, they were here for many, many years. And it was not easy for them to learn new aspects of the operation. So, for example, people from financial aid office, they refused to learn registrar matters. They refused to learn admissions matters. Same thing for the other two offices. They just couldn't do it. So it was going on for like good 3 years or so because there were so many problems. And the other thing that I want to mention is that when we rolled out opened the Panther Station, the concept was that we were going to do it on a pilot basis. But then at the last moment, the interim president of the college at the time, she said, "No, there will be no piloting. Just open it up." Now, we open it up all right, but people are not trained. Remember, the concept
Mm-hmm.
was that no matter what they need, they will come here and they will get service for the three offices. People are not ready to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did not even have access to the system. As you know, now CUNY
Yeah.
First has security, they have roles. They did not have any of those things set up. So because of that, the line was even longer for the Panther Station. And the service quality went down significantly. And after 3 years, she decided to move on, and I was asked to take over the Panther Station. I was serving in the capacity of the senior registrar at the time because I had the institutional background and I was familiar with the entire process. They thought that I would be a good fit to come and oversee the operation of the Panther Station. So I'm here since March of 2022. It's been 4 years, a little over 4 years now. And I can share with you, when I came to the Panther Station, what I encountered and what kind of changes I made to make it somewhat functional. I'm not quite happy the way we are functioning, but we are functioning as a true one-stop services center, even though we have two separate teams